absolute ruler of the world. And all before lunch. What do I do with the rest of the day?
Whoa. This is not what I was expecting.
Of course it isn't.
This whole conquering the world thing, I don't know if I'm down with it. I mean, I guess I thought...
You thought you were going to get everything you ever wanted.
All right, oh boy, this is it. This is the moment. She's going to do it. Wuya is about to turn the tables and revoke her agreement with Raimundo. And... wait, what? She kept her promise?
Wait, really?
Okay, I guess she was a woman of her word. But why? Why didn't she betray Raimundo? This is so not her. Is this a slip-up? A mistake? A plot hole? These were some of the speculations within the Xiaolin fandom, and we're here to solve this riddle. Hello, fellow monks, and welcome to the Xiaolin Temple, where we honor all things Xiaolin. Yes, all things. And today, as master of this monastery, I wish to talk to you about this puzzling piece of trivia. Why did Wuya keep her promise? Why didn't she double-cross Raimundo the moment she got her powers back? Fans have debated this bizarre behavior, considering one of the more classic yet popular cartoon cliches is to have its villains turn on their allies when they're no longer needed.
We? There is no we.
What? We had a deal!
So why didn't Wuya adapt this popular villain trope? The Xiaolin community has pondered, questioning whether this was indeed a character inconsistency or at the very least an inauthentic action on her part. After rewatching Season 1, as well as looking into Wuya's complete character story, I believe there's enough evidence to dismantle this as uncharacteristic. Besides the political behind-the-scenes reasonings, which I'll get into later, I also have a new theory that could not only explain Wuya's sudden sentimentality, but even shed some light on the true meaning of her character for the show itself. Let's get into it.
Let's go! Xiaolin Showdown!
So, when first wondering why Wuya remained loyal to Raimundo, I think it's important that we first reflect on her behaviour with her previous partners in evil. By looking at her attitude towards her supposed allies, we can appreciate the understandable confusion the fandom has towards her loyalty. Throughout Season 1, it became quickly apparent Wuya's desires for world conquest far exceeded whatever weak partnership she had formed with Jack Spicer, and our disembodied Ghostface was very eager to hire more helpful hands, regardless of Jack's feelings towards these more powerful prospects that could potentially replace him.
Find me the fist of Tebigong, or I...
What? Replace me?
There's a thought.
Almost immediately after Jack's first showdown defeat, Wuya began searching for replacements, starting with the silent but deadly Le-Mime. Now this was the first clue that Wuya was not a loyal lady. She was already sick of Jack's inadequacies, despite the fact he had only lost his first ever showdown. Despite this, Wuya could not hide her excitement when meeting her newest potential partner of evil. He possessed magical abilities, had an interest in evil, and unlike Jack, he didn't waste his time monologuing. I mean, is it any coincidence that in the very same episode Wuya hires a mute mime artist, she also criticizes Jack for being polar opposites?
You talk too much.
So there's a strong possibility that if Le-Mime's weakness hadn't been exploited, he would have gone on to replace Jack as Wuya's right-hand man in makeup. But since Jack 2.0 was beaten, Wuya was forced to stay with her starter. Now, our first real evidential breakthrough comes in the form of Wuya's reaction to Katnappe.
Certified free, 7 days a week, wet ass.
Call me Katnappe. Meow.
This time, Wuya was more verbal about her intentions.
But I'm your evil favorite.
Not anymore. In fact, with Katnappe by my side, I don't need you and your mindless robotic contraptions.
There's no doubt about it, she was about to cut ties with Jack, but then Katnappe decided to go rogue, leaving Wuya, once again, unable to continue without Jack.
Oh, I missed!
Now, when Tubbimura entered the picture, it was Jack's employment he sought more than Wuya's, and it's interesting how this affected her behaviour towards Jack. Since Tubby was more interested in the man than the mask, Wuya decided to stay in Jack's good graces by treating him finally like an equal rather than a subordinate.
Excellent evil thinking, Jack.
But once Tubby is gone, so is Wuya's incentives for niceties. In fact, even when Jack successfully scores all the Shengong Wu from the monks, Wuya already had her sights set for a much bigger and badder ally. The moment the Malajong Ghoul possessed the Shengong Wu, our suspicion about her true intentions are once again confirmed.
Isn't he a work of art?
Once she acquired a seemingly unstoppable demonic warrior, she didn't need Jack. She had no more desire for friendship or equal alliances. Zhong's power might as well have been Wuya's, and she dumps Jack brutally. Then only defeats Malajong. Wuya is spirited away, all the monks except for Raimundo are promoted to Shaolin apprentice, and Spicer becomes a strong, independent Jackman who don't need no Wuya. So then what happens? Once again, our evil spirit turns her sights towards her next evil henchman.
Your performance in the showdown was most impressive, and you are not even a Shaolin apprentice.
You're right, Omi. I'm not. So, where do you want him? What a twist!
Raimundo Pedrosa. Now, as evidenced moments ago, up until Raimundo, Wuya had consistently turned her back on all her potential sidekicks, all in a bid for more power. That's not to say she completely severed ties, but there was a clear behavioural pattern in regards to the work ethic of our ghoulish gal.
I'm not a girl. I'm a 1,500-year-old evil spirit.
Sorry, begging your pardon, but suffice to say, Wuya has proven time and time again she cannot be trusted. So, with all this said, fans were understandably confused why Wuya didn't repeat this behavioural pattern once she got everything she needed from Raimundo, her former enemy. So to begin with, let's look at this creative decision from a behind-the-scenes perspective. Wuya's seemingly sudden sentimentality was crucial for our Brazilian boy's redemption. Get it? It's like redemption, only with Rai. Forget it. From a storytelling perspective, having Wuya break her promise, backstab and ultimately betray Raimundo would ultimately damage the audience's impression of him from that moment onwards.
I never wanted anything to happen to you guys. I just wanted my due.
You're not one of us.
All over America today, viewers were outraged.
And this awkward scenario actually exists in anime. This actually reminds me of Beyblade, one of the cheesiest animes I've ever seen as a preteen.
Man! What? I've got to put a stop to you!
In that show, there's this kid called Kai, who I guess you could consider as the Vegeta of the team.
Mock my pride!
Anyways, Kai turns his back on his team for a more powerful Beyblade, and during his final battle with his former friends, Kai continuously brags about his powers and abilities, how he's going to be number one, how nobody will be able to stop his conquest. Mwahahaha, mwahahaha, evil laugh. But then he gets smoked. But then his friends choose to save him and are like, no, Kai, join us. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And I just remember thinking, he's not even sorry. What a coincidence that after having his ass handed to him, he's only now realizing the importance of friendship and team playing. Bullshit.
Oh my God, you guys, I just realized something. We shouldn't be doing this. I mean, look at us. What have we become? Maybe we all have to learn to live together.
But you just said they should all die 15 seconds ago.
I know, but I get it now. We've got to live and let live.
Ugh. So Kai displayed no redeemable qualities here at all, and ultimately this damaged him as a character. But thankfully today we're focusing on the character development of Rai, not Kai. Raimundo. Okay, I'll stop. The point is, Rai was not defeated by good. On the contrary, Raimundo was the victor, given everything he was promised and more, which makes his act of saving his captive friends far more noble. So having Wuya keep her word and remaining loyal to Raimundo ultimately serves as the better narrative, not just for the story, but for his character arc. And this is why Zuko's redemption is a fine example of carefully crafted character development. I mean, look, imagine if Season 2's exiled Zuko decided to help the Avatar rather than Prince Zuko of Season 3. Do you see the difference? One is an outcast with fewer options with a more questionable morality, and the other has everything he's ever wanted but lets it all go for the sake of good. And this, in Xiaolin terms, is why Raimundo turning on Wuya instead of the predicted other way round makes much better sense. But this doesn't answer the in-universe question. Why would Wuya, the Palpatine of the Xiaolin verse, stay loyal to a subordinate she no longer needed? Well, first and foremost, gratitude. See, one thing Le-Mime, Katnappe, Tubbimura, Jong and Jack all had in common was they were constantly failures. Their short-term successes were constantly eclipsed by their continuous defeats, whereas Raimundo, on the other hand, had a far more reliable reputation. When Jack resurrected Mala Jong, Wuya didn't reward his recent victories. Instead, she dumped him. Brutally. So it's clear that, at the very least, Wuya had more of a fondness for Raimundo. Remember, she did not need him anymore. She could have easily dealt with the renegade Rai, but instead she rewarded him by constantly showering him with more and more gifts, even allowing the other monk captives the chance to join her just to keep her prized pet Pedrosa happy.
Wuya, what if these guys, you know, swear loyalty to you? Maybe they could sort of live in the palace with me?
If they swear their loyalty.
However, from doing this video, I've theorized there's another reason Wuya wanted an ex-Shaolin monk more so than any already evil henchman. From looking at the entire series, I've come to the conclusion that in this show's universe, Xiaolin and Heylin don't just happen to be primarily good and evil, they are actually the equivalent of heaven and hell. There are so many biblical parallels between Wuya and the devil. Both are depicted as evil entities, both have known to influence or even possess people, and most notably, both beings have been known to tempt those on righteous paths with promises of glory and other earthly materials. There's even an episode named The Last Temptation of Raimundo.
Oh, okay, I see what you did there.
So Wuya rewarding Rai could be seen as an act against God, or whatever or whomever the equivalent is in this show's universe. So now, apart from visual parallels acting as evidence, there's also a line in Season 1 that backs this theory up.
Pledge your allegiance to me, and I will spare your miserable lives.
Again, why would Wuya make such an offer? She already had a subservient demonic warrior at her disposal. Why would she offer these monks any sort of salvation in the same episode she'd got rid of Jack? Unless she wanted to merely corrupt their souls. And let's not forget, Wuya offers the monks not just once, but 2 opportunities to live when she first captures them, and there isn't an immediate execution. Instead, she simply wants them locked up. Why? Why does she capture her enemies instead of insta-unaliving them? Corruption. Corrupting them. Keeping her allies and enemies alive is her preferred approach. Corruption rather than killing.
You can be our acolyte.
And since this is indeed Wuya's behaviour, this is why I think Wuya keeping her word is not a plot hole or an inconsistency. It serves as a better story, gives Raimundo a better redemption arc, and clearly Wuya wants to simply corrupt as many souls as she comes across, because she is the devil.
Satanus. That's Latin for Satan.
But what do you guys think? Is Wuya a demonic character? Is perverting pure souls her true purpose? Or is there another reason for her honouring her agreement? I know some of you may think this is a matter of romance, because I know that a lot of the community has some Wuya Rai Wuya shippers. And to those people out there, I would just like to say, take a seat.